Hey Tira, are we playing Caster Chicken? Because I suck at that.
I thought you were going to start us off, but I'll go ahead.
No, I thought you were starting it off.
All right. Well, so my apologies. Welcome to Twitch chat to this Game 2 race between ChristosOwen and iiYoshii I'm going to call him Yoshi for short. Like I said, this is our Game 2. We are using default settings. So open mode, defeat Ganon 7-7 crystals. Christos hasn't made any changes from the Game 1 yesterday, but Yoshi is up a win, and I am really psyched, and I'm joined by Koi, my chicken Kokam. How are you doing?
Dude, I am terrible at Caster Chicken. I get real uncomfortable with silence.
Yeah, that's fair. We were having a little mic issues. I could have sworn you said you were going to go first. That was my bad.
I said, you got it, dude. Looks like a pendant at Eastern. Yoshi going with the uncle start here, hoping to find some early bombs. ChristosOwen doing the same thing.
Yeah, and you don't have any weapon. You have to use that sign. But getting bombs off the triple prize, the 4-bomb prize pack, so we are basically set. Super early convenience.
Yeah, it's super nice getting bombs from the tree pole, but it's not super significant from the uncle start because you could have just done a tree pole walking over to the Lost Woods as well. Flippers, though, that's a thing. I hope nobody wanted to houlihan today.
Definitely. I really hate the early flippers because the fake flipper sequence break is one of the easiest ones to do and one of the most common ones, and flippers just ruins the whole thing.
Christos, where you going, buddy? Are we doing front of escape with just bombs 1 minute into the sea?
It definitely looks like that's the case. We do have 10 bombs, and the bomb weapon is the 10 bomb prize pack. So this is absolutely plausible. The only thing we're missing is the light cone.
Super interesting plays from both our runners. So, like, Chris is going to the front of escape. Front of escape is not the most dense area in the light world, and doing it with bombs is slower than like 6 other items. So, really interesting that he goes here first. And then Yoshi, meanwhile, going over to Sahasrara's hut before South Shore or Kakariko. Very interesting plays from our runners.
Absolutely. I do like the bomb positioning in the first room from Christos, throwing both of the bombs.
Looks like Yoshi wasn't interested in going into Eastern Palace with 3 hearts and no lamp or weapon. Makes sense.
Yeah,
those bomb strats are pretty cool. Nice bombs in freaking Sanctuary.
Can you imagine going into Eastern, a pendant Eastern with no lamp, no bow, before even checking Kakariko? That would be so crazy.
It's funny, like, going into Kakariko without a lamp or a weapon. If I have like 10 hearts, I get through the whole thing taking it 1/2 heart of damage. If I'm on 3 hearts, I die in the first dark room every time.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's definitely places where you have to make a gamble and commit to a path, but pendant Eastern a minute in is a little bit early to be committing to crazy plays.
Nice lamp over in the Lost Woods.
Gets rid of the whole darkroom issue we were just talking about.
Oh, Christos! Oh no, Christos! He wasted a pot there, and now he has to finish off the ball and chain guard with bombs. He has enough to do it, but man, that was slow. And just 10 arrows as his reward.
So watching Christos yesterday was the first time I ever actually saw a player with a double beep heart speed. And I can tell you, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I don't know the significance of why some players do that. I guess if you really need to know that you're low on hearts. I normally play with half speed.
I like to play with it off just so I can be surprised by my deaths. A little variety. So runners are restoring a little bit of sanity to our routes finally making the Kakariko dip and not finding anything in blindside. But this is a little bit back on track of what we'd expect for the first 4 minutes of an open race.
Yeah, so far not a super friendly seed with items. Like flippers are great, you know, they unlock things and all that stuff, but it's really annoying to have to get 500 rupees and you don't have access to Houlihan until you find Boots or Gloves. Yoshi's doing all right though, already up to over 400. Of course, he'll spend 100 of those on the bottle merchant soon.
Yeah, it seems a little bit cruel of the seed to give you the powder, but no way to actually turn it in. Flute's a pretty nice pickup, though.
Yeah, always nice to find that in Kakariko so you can activate it on your first trip here. Oftentimes you see players avoid going to Kakariko to look for that flute so that they can do this.
Well, there's our mirror, so now we can use that powder if we get Dark World access. But yeah, the more popular southern Kakariko route, potentially picking up doing South Shore first, getting the flute in the bottle, that is, you know, a common justification of being able to, you know, single dip Kakariko essentially. But like I said, it's not a hard place to get back to, and you come here so often.
Typically at least once more.
So I like chat was suggesting that we could have like a quadruple speed heartbeat, and I could just picture, like, I don't know if you could do this with an MSU pack. I don't know if that affects heartbeats, probably not, but maybe like a siren, or some kind of catastrophic failure noise.
No, thank you. I think I could live without that. All right, well, we got a Moon Pearl. That's a thing. So flute plus mirror is one of those like item combinations that we really feel it leads to progression very often. Flute plus mirror typically means something's on the top of Death Mountain. And that could mean in Hera itself, which could, you know, be a force dip without a weapon to kill Moldorm, or it might just be a hammer sitting somewhere, and we find that, and it's actually for a Paradox Cave.
Yeah, I mean, the hammer would be great, giving us obviously a weapon and the East Death Mountain access, but just being able to get up to Hera, we have the fire source, so we can check the basement, and the only thing we couldn't do would be the Moldorm kill. It's still way too early to do that, though. There's many, many better locations.
Yeah, so so even though flute plus mirror, it's hard pointing at going up Death Mountain, there's so many more things we can find to make that an even better play that it makes sense to check out other locations first. For instance, the dam having a hook shot. Now we don't even need the hammer. We can just go straight to Paradox Cave.
Yeah, that's a good example. That opened up, 7 more items over there.
Although now I'm worried because we have hookshot flippers, and hookshot flippers is it's not incredibly likely, but it's very likely. Aga hookshot flippers is a very common item set to go across the river after killing Aga 1, and we already have that lamp.
I'm not going to go there quite so soon. I'm holding out hope that all this means is that we're going to have an early Crystal Swamp Palace, that it's going to be a mandatory dungeon, and everyone's going to be happy with that.
All right, well, we got a glove now. That definitely draws us away from Aga a bit. Just one more item for Dark World access.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that you see a 25-30 minute Aga play. We're just eventually completely last locationed, but we do have so many other locations still open to us that it's very preemptive to be too worried about that, especially with 2 of our 3 required Dark World access items already in hand.
Yoshi checking out Ice Rod Cave here, and then he's going to have to make a decision. He is a little short. Well, there's Dark World access, never mind. I was gonna say you're gonna have to decide whether or not to go to Zora with only 467 rupees, but Darkwold access, you could put off Zora for a while now. Maybe do it with Catfish later. We already have that mirror.
Yeah, definitely less of an issue. You know, if we were going to flute over to 8 and warp to begin with, we can essentially do that at any time. Fortunately, the flute never runs out of charges.
I think we're gonna see a swamp dive here, unless it's a pendant. Maybe we put it off if it's a pendant.
It's a red crystal. That's like
Not a pendant.
the complete opposite of a pendant.
We got Skullwoods and Thieves Town pendants. It's kind of gross.
Yeah, we might not have any reason to go to Village of Outcasts for a long time because there are a lot of overworld checks in that area, but with both of those being pendants, I like the early Skullwoods play. That would make a lot of sense. And freaking Kana Samari and Hive Cave. This is really a Dark World seed.
Oh, and Mitt's right behind it. Well, Yoshi has this like a really fun route set up in front of him here where he does Swamp Palace and then he can go Pyramid into Catfish, mirror over to the Flipper checks. But the Mitts plus the hookshot also means, hey, that's a lot of checks up on Death Mountain now too.
Yeah, Christos is doing the Death Mountain checks, or at least the Old Man Rescue, prior to picking up those Mitts. So he's not going to be able to do the Dark Death Mountain checks. I really hope, for the sake, for Christos' sake, that there isn't key progression up on Dark Death Mountain.
This play from Christos still, it makes a lot of sense here though, because Hera is a crystal. He can full clear it. And even if there's nothing there, he has the hammer. He can just walk right over to Iseth Mountain. Looks like he's going to head for Iseth Mountain first though, and finish out with Hera. While Yoshi dives into Swamp Palace on 1.5 hearts.
Wow. At least he's in the dungeon now. Yeah, so if you die, you're at least in the dungeon. Hey, a free heart.
Alright, he's fine now.
Yeah, he's fine. 3.5 that's no problem.
The Swamp is a very notorious dungeon. Like, it's so hard to die in Swamp, but it's really easy to take damage. So on 1.5 hearts with Green Mail, it's not ideal. So good prize back there, picking up them hearts.
And Yoshi's also using a good strategy of collecting those hearts with a hook shot, which has a chance of counting it as 2 small hearts instead of just 1.
Miracle of cloning.
Yeah, I don't know if that's anything that you can actually control or if it's just entirely random.
So my understanding is that literally no one knows why or how it works, just that it does sometimes.
That seems very plausible to me.
It's magic.
It's completely magic.
It's probably like some sub-pixel thing that I don't understand.
If the task can't figure out how to do it, then it's safe to say no one knows. This route that Chris is doing is a little bit odd. I think with the equipment that he had, that's unfortunate. Well, it's obviously a bad death, but it does get him to Hera, using the mirror. Which is what I would have expected to be the optimal route to begin with, because then you can just fall down Spiral Cave and avoid a second climb up the mountain or backtrack. But that's going to be where we end up going anyway.
Yeah, it's not like a huge time loss for him here, but yeah, having to climb up the mountain on the other side as well as the right side is not ideal.
Yeah, the only way that could really pay off is like if you find the book over there, then you can check Ether. There's nothing that he really needs to make Tower of Hera itself any easier, being a pendant dungeon. He's not picking up the blue mail. Only has 6 hearts, but he's got enough experience that probably doesn't really even care.
Yeah, it's not blue mail's not like a super big deal when you're at this caliber, I don't think. Especially, like, he's just going into Hera. Hera is no big deal at all. I'm a little worried if he does find, like, Burna or Cape, though, because he's in this really weird position where he kind of has to choose between doing either Spiral Cave or Spike Cave.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking earlier as far as doing Spiral Cave on the way down, because then when you come back up, you can, terminate. Spike Cave is a really great place to make as your last location, because you're going to save it quite out of there. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not a concern right now because he doesn't have access to Spike Cave. There's no way he could do it with the amount of hearts and equipment he has, but just one immunity item, suddenly Spike Cave's a thing. And now we get to see some fun menu strats from Yoshi here.
Yeah, these Yoshi is using the strategy of grabbing 2 of those puffs at the same time, or at least attempting to. Otherwise, this is just a very, very painful fight. And Christos picks up the first sword. That sword wouldn't really help Yoshi at all because we'd be in the same situation. That is,
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that bomb jump.
Like, typically, if you're in a situation where you have to bomb jump across, you would just not hit the little star statue or little star tile or whatever, and then you could just walk down from the big chest. But I think he accidentally stepped over it, so he did the bomb jump, and it was the short path, and he couldn't walk back, so he had to bomb jump again. But the bomb jump takes too long, and now we're playing up and down the the floor. What are you doing, Chris?
This is great.
He is super focused on getting this walk skip past the bumper. There he goes. He got it that time.
That is a really hard skip to get. I don't care how easy people make it look. That bumper is evil. It has a bigger hitbox than it looks like it does.
You know how much time that saves to walk over the bumper like that?
None. Like a second, maybe.
1 second, approximately.
So the
it's
nice
worth
thing
it if you could just do it, but if you fall, it's like suddenly, oh my god, why did I ever do this?
So the one thing that's nice about Randomizer is it just because it's random, skill is off, execution skill is offset by routing knowledge and just decision making, and obviously a factor of luck. But all that said, just based on execution and the silliness of his gameplay, Christos is always fun to watch.
So Yoshi did not do left side swamp. I wasn't paying enough attention to see how many items were left, but I gotta think it's at least 1.
Yeah, chat says 2 items in the left side swamp. I didn't count them either. I saw we didn't really see anything in the front of swamp that was of any value. That's
a rough call to leave, though. But I guess you do swamp so early, as long as you have. As long as you have what's the word? Scheduled a time for when I'm willing to go back inside, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good opportunities to do that. I mean, purple chest, bombos, turn in. You can route in with left side swamp. That was also one of the 5/6 crystals, so you might route that in. If pyramid doesn't pay off. There's just so many freaking opportunities, and Yoshi also has the Dark Death Mountain. All 6 of those items.
Like that one dig game. Just 20 rupees, but man, he was done with that quick. Alright, Christos finishes up the mountain here. All he found for his troubles was a sword, but, that's better than nothing. And now we're going to Eastern.
This could be just the Sashirala's check, or this could be Sashirala and Eastern, but we don't have the bow, so we're not going to be able to complete Eastern. And I don't. If he wanted to do pendant, I think if he wanted to do Eastern or Pod, he might have just come in from the Dark World.
Yeah, kind of unusual for him to do this at this stage, since he does have Dark World access. It is possible he just doesn't realize he has Dark World access. We haven't seen him try to go to the Dark World yet. But it
That makes
may
more.
also be maybe he knows Yoshi likes to do that start with the Sahasrara like he did, and it just wants to make sure that Yoshi didn't get like the boots or something.
That's a good point. A lot of these heads-up matches do come down to specifically metagaming what your opponent is going to do. It doesn't matter if you're, it's. I like the 100-person races because then if you're 5th out of 100, you really feel like you accomplished something. But these heads-up races, if you lose by a second, it doesn't matter. Well, I guess a second matters. If you lose by 4 seconds, it doesn't matter.
So Christos moving on to Back of Escape. Still not going to the Dark World, although the Back of Escape is a much more standard play. There's no way to like pair this with anything else. So you just typically do it as soon as you get the gloves.
Yeah, so we've seen all the other items in Escape. So I guess there's the key in the chest in Dark Cross. So we don't have to bother with that.
Okay, now he's going to the Dark World. Christos knows. He knows.
This is a tough seed because the runners just have so many options. I mean, there's almost nothing is closed off to them, except very very unique spots like the boost lock spots and the actual end bosses in Turtle Rock and the bow lock dungeons. But just as far as items are concerned, they have so much of the game open.
So Yoshi goes to check Desert Ledge. Not. I mean, it's fine, get the information, but like, even if it was progression, he wasn't going to be able to do anything about it yet. I think, okay, so he was just checking it before going to the Mire area and then accidentally fluted to the wrong location. That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard strategy just to jump off flute and then check it. So you don't have to walk all the way back down. But Yoshi's had a couple of missed flutes in the past few days.
So Mire is Bombos. We will need Bombos for Go mode at the very least.
So Mire required medallion should be in the Mire shed, but nope, just a bee.
And a bottle.
That's true. The bottle helps more than the bee does.
They should really split those two items up. Just open a chest and it's just the bee.
That would be great. There actually was, I think, like insane difficulty or something like that.
It was like an Randomizer feature. Like on the old Randomizer standalone app, you could turn on bees in chests, and like every chest that didn't have progression would just be swarms of bees. Desert is blocked, logically at the very least, so it's a small key on that torch. But if we find the big key in this chest, we could still go kill the boss out of logic.
Yeah, okay. So definitely boots are required in this particular seed. That's good. That's good news to find.
Are you a little surprised that nobody's gone after the flipper checks yet? Because I am.
Not really. I think that they would probably combo those with Ice Palace, and they might want a little bit more health before dipping into ice. Yoshi in particular, just having not done the Death Mountain checks. I mean, there's like almost 20 items up there, so that would probably take priority. I'm surprised that we're seeing the Mire area actually.
Well, like we have the hookshot, we have the cane, we have the lamp. We could full clear Mire if we just had the right medallion. So they were both hoping it was Ether so they could go in there early. But unfortunately, Bombos today. Christos.
Uh-oh.
They don't call him Murderdactyl for nothing.
Yeah, those birds are vicious. If you have the boots, you can use the iframes from the water if you don't have flippers, but he has flippers and doesn't have the boots, so that was just a mistake. All right, where's that switch audio button?
Okay, Yoshi now going after Back of Escape here.
That's pretty interesting. The beeps actually speed up when you're warping.
Yeah, it's unusual. Yeah, so we still have tons of really great places to go. Like Dark Death Mountain is incredibly dense, especially for Yoshi, who hasn't done even Light Death Mountain yet. And then we also have all the flipper checks, which we could pair with doing catfish and or pyramid.
Yeah, unfortunately, we just have so much open. We have, dungeons that we can full clear, like Thieves Town is the green pendant. That's 5 items, but it's also a pendant dungeon. We haven't seen any of the Village of Outcasts or Skull Woods area. I get the feeling that we're going to have, a double dip pod or something in a pendant Skull Woods. Like, that's just, we had so much early joy in this seed. It's going to have to change.
Thanks, sick kid, for my shovel. Appreciate it.
I'll trade you a bottle of medicine if you'll go shovel up the item yourself.
Alright, it looks like Yoshi's headed over to Death Mountain now.
You should be spending quite a bit of time up here doing all the checks that we saw Christos do, including Tower of Hera and then the light world checks. But we will see 6 additional items in Dark Death Mountain, as well as find out what our Turtle Rock Medallion is going to be. So that'll be extra knowledge for us.
Are we going swamp, Christos? We're going swamp. Of course, we already saw this from Yoshi. We didn't find any progression in swamp, but he did leave 2 items on the left side. Maybe Christos will show us what those are. And you got to think from Christos's point of view, because he did so many other checks before going to swamp. Left side swamp looks a lot more palatable, right? It looks tastier.
Yeah, what's interesting is we haven't seen too much overworld. It's just like, the standard like Southern Dark World routes, Northern Dark World routes. Neither player has just focused on the overworld checks. The advantage of so many dungeons being open is that you can go into them. The risk is that you have to double dip them.
Christos also on low health as he enters swamp, but he didn't get any of those lucky heart drops.
At least he's not beeping anymore.
Just half a heart away.
Oh, there's a heart. Pick it up.
Hey!
Christos likes living dangerously. He'll probably, I think it was maybe yesterday's Ganon fight, like the whole thing was at half a heart. Maybe that was a different fight.
When I mess up on Ganon and I take a bunch of damage, I like to lie to people and say I did it on purpose to make the fight more exciting. I'm sure that's what all these runners do. Like, that's why Christos only has 3 hearts right now. He intentionally took damage from the Murderdactyl to make the game more fun.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. They almost fall off of the Ganon, and they say it was just a swag strat, or the deaths that are RNG manipulation.
Oh, hey, you got the double heal. And again, nice full heal there. All these hearts in swamp.
That's where you really want to spend your luck on the hookshot hearts.
Oh, Chris is going straight to left side. Not even going to try to skip it.
Well, it's going to definitely pay off for him as far as time savings is concerned. If we have to come back here, it's quicker to do this.
Depending on what the progression is, if there is progression over here, it could be a very long time before Yoshi ever comes back to left side swamp. But if there's nothing here, then Yoshi just saves 2 minutes for never coming back here again.
Yeah, if you are going to do this, you should just do it first, because it is quicker than coming back in, especially when you find the big key early. That was a pretty quick Tower of Hera for Yoshi, and we're gonna quickly see these late world checks and then get our first look at the new items in the Dark World. I can't remember the last time I actually saw something useful up on the floating island there.
I don't know. We have they just released the seed analysis, like a 50,000 seed analysis, so you could see what percentage of the time there's actually progression on that location. It's probably not that much different than any other single item location.
I will definitely have to take a look at that. Because Catfish just feels like it's had more value this version, but it's probably apocryphal.
All right, left side swap. Unfortunately, no progression there. Yoshi made the right call, skipping it. And Christos is going to have a little time to catch up. It was Ether for Turtle Rock. Yoshi went ahead and opened it. He does have the cane, but no Fire Rod or Ice Rod. Pretty standard to like go in there just to see if there's something in the first chest, but there is a risk associated with that. Particular key layouts can get you pretty deep in the dungeon. And if there's no progression there, it's a huge waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the mirror, so if he gets all the way to Laser Bridge, he can also check Mimic Cave. The Turtle Rock check wouldn't be completely unreasonable. Obviously, we're going to see all of these Light World checks first, just in case we find the Fire Rod. But finding a bow in Turtle Rock, that's something that's very common, and that would open up Pod and Eastern. So it's might be worth it to avoid another trip up the mountain.
Yoshi headed here for Spiral Cave. We did see Christos do Spiral, right, after he did Hera.
He did go back and do it, but I wasn't watching.
Yeah, it wasn't progression if he did it.
Nah, yeah, just some trash item.
₹5 are trash to you? Man. I don't think you know the value of a rupee, Tiru.
Well, they're emeralds. I'm not really a fan of emeralds.
Why are they emeralds? What?
They're green.
It was blue.
Oh, that's right. So would that be like a sapphire?
I guess so.
I don't know,
I
George.
think it's just a rupee.
I only embezzle in diamonds. I'm not up to date on the lesser jewels.
Alright, and that'll finish off the overworld checks here for Yoshi. And yeah, it looks like he's gonna head back up top.
Yeah, Christos had a little bit of an easier fight there, being able to do fighter sword spins. Still not a fun fight, but it beats the menu strats.
Yeah, by a fair margin.
Yeah, by quite a bit. Oh no, beeping!
He's one hit from death right now. Argus will kill him. Yeah, he's playing it safe there with some fighter sword spins. The hammer does a lot more damage, but spinning is way safer. And thank you for the full heal, Argus, so we don't have to listen to the beeps anymore. All right, Yoshi heading here into Turtle Rock. This first chest tells us everything we need to know. If it's a key, we continue. Anything else, we have to leave. It's a key!
All right, well, we're going to be able to at least see one more chest.
All right, so he cannot go over to the right side because it is Fire Rod locked. No way for him to do that. So the Chain Chomp chest is the only one available to him. If this is also a key, we're going to see Mimic Cave.
Yeah, definitely. Nice use of the ether there, because That's a little bit of a pain in the butt to chase around with a fighter sword.
Yeah, killing that guy with anything other than the tempered sword is a huge pain. Oh, down to 1 heart.
Don't take a death here.
And have to play it safe, bait out some.
Oh!
No,
Oh!
ah! Okay.
He took a hit with the iframes and then lost it. Took a second hit.
Chain Chomp's being rude.
I'm glad he's going back in though, because you committed to making the TR check. You at least want to see how far you can get. Yeah, there was no good choice there. I mean, the Yoshi has a green potion, but no invincibility items.
Much nicer pattern this time. And it's the key! Okay, so with this key, we can get to 1 more chest in the dungeon and Mimic Cave. If this next chest has the big key, we can get quite a bit further.
I've seen more than my fair share of seeds that have had like the fire rod on Laser Bridge, and you have to, go back, or maybe not that far.
The dream is both rods, just sitting on Laser Bridge. I've seen it 1 time.
Yeah, you need really special key layout, and that is excellent use of the powder there. We needed that heart refill.
So Christos finishes up these Dark Death Mountain checks, and he is not going into TR. So yet another divergence between our runners here. If Yoshi finds something big, it's huge for him. If there's nothing here, it was a huge time loss. All right, just a compass. Okay, so we only get Mimic Cave left. No Laser Bridge today.
And Christos we're still locked out of Ice Palace because we don't have Bombos or the Fire Rod, so we're seeing some of the easier water checks now. Hobo, and then the 4 items up on Zora's Ledge. At this point, I think these 5 items are very quick and definitely worth the prioritization.
I still would have liked to see him do the pyramid into catfish route with these flipper checks, but those are typically very slow, so trying to skip them is not too uncommon.
Yeah, you can always do pod into pyramid and catfish as well, if that ends up being something that you want to do. But I would say you'd probably want to hold off and ideally do like Pyramid Fairy and Pyramid at the same time if we find the Bombus or Fire Rod and we can knock out Ice Palace. Little Zora is fan of the Pro Double Beat Club, giving Christos some extra damage. We find a bug net on Yoshi's side.
Net. Nothing from this Turtle Rock dive. Very unfortunate for Yoshi.
Oh, free green potion and the blue. That's a very generous fairy.
Looks like Yoshi's also going after flippers here.
So the potions will let either runner sequence break any Bowlock sections in Palace of Darkness, and that would open up all of the items except for Helmsor King himself. Might be an interesting play. I mean, finding a bow, even in the Bowlock sections with progressive bows, is not unheard of.
Yeah, Pod's certainly not a bad play at this point in the seed with what's left. Like, Pod's a very dense location in general, but it's slow. And the thing is, if you go to Pod and you find nothing, how do you not mirror and do Pendant Eastern, right? And you definitely don't want to do Pendant Eastern.
Yeah, I think at this point, based on pure just items per minute, the Village of Outcasts is the best place to be.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Thieves Town is a pretty reasonable call right now.
Yeah, I mean, not only do you have 5 items in Thieves Town with the green pendant, you have the 3 overworld items in that area, and then of course you have Smith's Chain and Skullwoods. There's just a lot of item density, and Christos is probably heading that way right now.
Yeah, sure, it looks like it.
I think Thieves Town, like if you have to full clear a pendant dungeon, Thieves Town is probably the one you're gonna want to pick. It's pretty quick. You almost never have to double dip it. And with the green pendant, it's just, it's icing on the cake. And with these, just with these 3 overworld items, there's essentially an 8 item location. That's pretty efficient.
Alright, nothing in chess game. Christos will go ahead and check brewery now. A little late on his bomb throw. He took a heart of damage, just 1 heart closer to those double beeps. 9 to go. Going after the smith first, okay.
Yeah, spending a little bit of time on the overworld checks before diving into the dungeon. This gives us smiths and hammer pegs. You can even flute away and turn in the purple chest if you want to. But I think if you're going to do purple chest, did he do the southern? He didn't do the southern route.
I think they both went to dig game and Stumpy already. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yoshi continued on and did the smith chain.
Right, and then Yoshi just did our digging spot, so that was just a piece of heart.
All right, more divergence from our runners as Christos goes through Village of Outcasts. Yoshi's headed to Palace of Darkness.
Complete opposite sides of the world, and and both of these are gambles. Yoshi is diving into a crystal dungeon that he may not be able to clear. I'm sorry, I said Yoshi is doing that, and then Christos is diving pendant dungeons, which might have items, but definitely don't have crystals.
Looks like Christos intends to turn in this purple chest, though, before he goes anywhere. He does have the option to just not go back to Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, if he doesn't, then I would say he probably would follow in Yoshi's footsteps and head over to the Pod Eastern region. And we are still locked out of Misery Mire. We're still locked out of completing Desert because we don't have the boots. So we're obviously locked out of the boot spots as well. Christos hasn't done Turtle Rock, but we know that there's really no progression options available without the Fire Rod. It's interesting. There's a lot of things that we can partially complete, but very few things that we can full clear.
First chest and pod was a small key, so more of this dungeon is in logic, not completely bow locked.
Regardless, Yoshi does have those potions as well, so we can potion glitch through this right side and get all the items. Cape opens up Bumper Ledge, which is something that neither runner have seen, so that could be a progression item.
Yeah, one's headed to Skullwood's Bumper Cave or Graveyard Ledge, or Catfish for that matter, if we wanted to include it in that route.
Yeah, poor Northern Dark World. It's getting no love today.
Give me the Fire Rod. I'll go there.
That's a fair deal.
Fire Rod. Although, honestly, if we found a Fire Rod, we're probably doing Ice Palace and Turtle Rock first.
Maybe we'll have Fire Rod on Graveyard Ledge.
Alright, so Yoshi is doing the Mimic Clip here. Or rather, the Potion Camera unlock, not Mimic Clip.
And Yoshi has successfully killed, in quotes, all 3 of those mimics to open the door.
Yeah, so that's a pretty easy to execute glitch. I actually had my mom do it for a YouTube video. Never played the game before in her life, but she can do the PCU and pod. And Christos diving Skull Woods here. This is our first look at this dungeon.
So these are quick checks you can make. They're so quick that a lot of people actually, mentally kind of count the front of Skull as more of overworld than dungeon. But we haven't seen Thieves Town, and we know that that's 5 items, and that's also pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that we're seeing these dives before, like, even first 4 of Thieves Town.
Yeah, I mean, Green Pendant Thieves Town is basically a meme at this point. You have to do it.
Oh, we
There's
found
gonna be
Bombos
progression.
here. We found Bombos in Palace of Darkness. That gives us access to both Ice Palace and Misery Mire.
All right, well, that definitely changes things because both of those dungeons are going to be fully clearable, and they're crystals. So Yoshi's route is pretty well defined at this point.
Which one do you do first? Like, they're both pretty terrible. Like, Mire's not that bad, like, time-wise, but until you get to the boss, and then you're like, oh, wait, I have a fighter sword, and that's it.
I think you probably do Ice Palace first. If you find the boots, then you'll be able to do Desert when you're over at Mire, and there's really nothing that helps you the other way. But it's so quick to get back to Desert, it's not really even something that you have to think about too much.
There was a Master Sword in C-shaped house.
So Yoshi did the whole Smith's chain and didn't check C-shaped house?
Yeah, I don't think he did anything in the village. Like, he just walked up with the smith and then walked down with the purple chest.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, for all we know, that's the only other sword these players are going to see.
And Yoshi's going straight to Ice Palace. He would love to have that Master Sword right now.
Yeah, chat says that he did the chess game. So I guess he did chess game, but maybe skipped brewery and the C-shaped house.
I don't think Yoshi did. Yoshi walked up to the Smith sequence from Dig Game, where Christos did the Dig Game and then left and did other things, and then came back at the north and started the chess game.
Yeah, so I guess he skipped all those locations. Really, I'll say that is actually pretty atypical because those 3 overworld locations are. I mean, you can do all 3 of them in like 40 seconds. It's really, really quick. I think even if you're doing the purple chest, you can just drop off the chest for a second and knock out those 3 spots.
Christos not willing to full clear Thieves Town, leaves after the first 4, and headed to Pod. Oh, wait, he'll find Bombos here at the very least.
Yeah, I think Christos is probably going to be following in Yoshi's footsteps for a little while as well, doing the Ice Palace and Mire plays after this.
Well, with the Master Sword, Mire looks a lot better than it does for Yoshi. Especially with 3 bottles, like, you can just spin to win with the Master Sword, where the Fighter Sword, even with several bottles, it's a lot of spins.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I mean, neither player has the arrows, so you can't even do a quick phase 2. They do have the hammer though, so one strategy that I really like for Vitreous for phase 2 is just to stay on the top right corner and use hammers. It's very, very safe. It's a little bit slow, but it's a safe strat.
Yoshi nailing his Ice Palace bomb jump.
So, assuming that they follow the same routes at this point and do Ice Palace and Mire, and you have a good point. There are reasons to potentially procrastinate on Mire, but assuming they do those, we'll still be looking for the Fire Rod, the Ice Rod, the bow, and the boots. So I think after that, Thieves Town becomes a more appealing location with 5 items still.
Yeah, we are quite a ways away from go mode right now. I hope my hope here is that Yoshi finds something good in Ice Palace that keeps him from going to Mire, and then Christos finds something good in Mire that keeps him from going to Ice Palace.
Yeah, well, that's assuming that Christos goes to Mire first instead of just going to Ice.
I mean, Ice is more items, plus it leads to the red crystals, so it would make sense to do Ice Palace first, but I don't know. With the Master Sword, I'm thinking Mire. Christos, just as good a Link to the Past player as my mom, is able to pull off the potion camera unlock.
What's your mom's NMG time? Is she sub 130?
She gets distracted cutting the grass in Kakariko.
Oh, that's a good 10-second time loss right there. You can't compete.
She hasn't made it out yet. She's still there. And she figured out if she respawns the screen, it'll respawn the grass, and she can keep cutting.
Oh no, it's an infinite loop right there. At least you know that next Christmas you can just buy her a lawnmower.
Yeah, that'll do it. Haven't found anything yet in Ice Palace, but here comes iced tea. So refreshing.
Yeah, we really did need that. Definitely needed that key. That makes all the difference in this game. How could we possibly get through Ice Palace without small keys?
You want at least one, right? So you don't have to go the long way.
Yeah, if you get it early enough, one key is nice. If you get it on Kholdstare, it doesn't help you too much. I think that's our last item. We had a full heart container, small heart container. I was kind of hoping for the fire rod because I love Bombos locking a fire rod. It's just so much fun when that happens.
It feels like it's less common than it used to be, but it's probably just confirmation bias.
Yeah, most likely. It's also kind of a rare thing to begin with.
I feel like I used to see it all the time, like every seed.
So Yoshi coming into his fighter sword Kholdstare fight. We do the Bombos. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Hammer's dangerous. Like this is going to be a tough fight.
Oh look, Christos is going to Mire.
Yeah, you called that one, Koi.
It's all the Master Sword. If he had Fighter Sword, he would have gone to Ice Palace too.
And these puffs got away from Yoshi at the beginning, was not able to group them effectively. And he's taken a couple hits from the ice already.
Yeah, he's still in Green Mill, so walking into any of these puffs is 4 hearts of damage. They hurt. Spins are very nice for keeping the puffs off you. You know, like they start cornering you, you can just do a spin and get them all off you all at once. But it does have half as much damage as the hammer. Down to 4 hearts again, drinking a second potion.
That's really frustrating when you have to waste a blue potion just for a couple hearts. But I don't blame him. You're so deep in the dungeon. Staying at the top of the screen helps you avoid the ice hits a little bit, but the hammer hitbox is just so crap. This is a tough fight. Anyway, you got it.
One thing you could do is hold the sword out when you're going to hammer them, and it will like extend the range of your hammer. Yoshi gets through it though, and finds a bow on Kholdstare. Wow! Thank you, required double diff of pod.
That's definitely gonna lead him away from the mire for a little bit. Might as well knock out pod.
There's Helmasaur only has the compass, so like there's nothing in pod, right? So there's no reason to go back there right now. But does that mean we go to Eastern?
Well, I was gonna say there's nothing in pod, but yeah, we can get the crystal, and then we can dip Eastern and be confident that we'll at least clear it. It's an argument you can make, especially after having burnt through 2 potions on Kholdstare. You might not want to do Vitreous.
I think he's gonna go to Meyer though. Just by watching him buy the potions, it looks like Meyer might be the play. Well, he's going back to finish pod.
As I predicted he would.
It's just, why would you don't want to do Eastern? Like, Eastern's horrible right now.
Given that they've put off the easy dungeons like Pendant Thieves Town, makes sense that they're just committed to making the harder plays, like Pendant Eastern.
I definitely wouldn't feel good about doing Pendant Eastern right now, especially before Thieves Town, with Thieves Town being the green pendant. Like, it would be nice if you could turn on the green pendant on your way to Eastern or something. And Yoshi, who hasn't been in Thieves Town at all, like, that's, 5 items from Thieves Town, but it's only 3 from Eastern.
Yeah, and the Master Sword in C-shaped house. Because you do.
Well,
have
yeah,
to
if he
include
knew
it.
that was there, he'd go right there right now.
But yeah, I mean, even without knowing what it is, it's still an item that's near enough to Thieves Town that it's effectively a Thieves Town item, in the general area.
Sure.
Ooh.
And instead, Christos finds a book in Meyer. So both runners finding a progression item. Yoshi's is better.
Yeah, I mean, all the book opens up is the 2 tablets.
Yeah, I guess the book opens more item locations than the bow does right now, since we know Helmsword doesn't have anything.
Well, the bow makes Meyer an easier fight anyway, potentially. Again, we were talking about the difficulty of Fire Sword Vitreous, but he has a freaking bow now, so it's much less of an issue. You wear him down a bit with a few bombs, and worst case, you have a couple hammer hits in the face too. That's not that bad of a fight.
Christos still looking for a second item. He finds it, just 20 rupees. So just a book here from Misery Meyer. When does he go to Bombo's tablet though, right?
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. I mean,
he already did Smooth Sequence, he already full cleared Slong. I guess he could do it like before doing Pyramid Fairy, but even that's like out of the way.
Yeah, turning if you wanted to do Ice and then do Pyramid Fairy and the Bombos, that's the best of the bad choices. Ether, we can combo with Spike Cave now that we have both invincibility items and half magic. So that's actually 2 items that we can get pretty quickly. Bombos is just kind of a trash location. There's no reason to go there now.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see Christos go to Ice Palace before he checks either of those locations.
Yeah, some people, and for good reason, obviously, think that they should follow the progression that the game's giving them, and they found the book in a crystal dungeon, maybe that leads to your next progression item. It's completely logical. So if you want to prioritize Bombos because of that, it's not unreasonable, but it's not a very efficient check if you're just going for density.
Yeah, following the items is a very strong way to play the game, especially in the mid game though. And the later the game gets and the fewer items you're looking for, the harder it is to follow the items because you just have all of them and everything's open to you. Right, Chris is showing us those Master Sword spins using the iframes from stepping in the goo and then suddenly realizing, oh yeah, I have a cape.
Yeah, that was actually an impressive strat. I was looking at this, I'm like, shouldn't he be taking more damage? But it was
now you take
very well executed.
With typical execution, you take 2 hearts every spin, 1 from going in and 1 from walking out. And if you do it really, really tight, you can take only 1 heart of damage.
And he also demonstrated the strategy of slashing really, really fast while you have the cape. Saves a little bit of mana.
Right.
Which I'm sure your mother could do that strategy as well.
No, she can't. That's too hard. She'd press B like 5 times and then ask me which one was B again.
Just, you can put like an arrow, just like hit this button over and over again.
I'll just pop the keys off the controller so she only has one to choose from.
That's a good idea. Other color coded, maybe you should go by colors. And you called it. Christos going to Ice Palace.
Yeah, like even though Ice Palace is such a great dungeon to go mode versus full clear, it's still a better play than like going to Bombos or Ether right now.
Yeah,
and this does get him the red crystal access.
There's a lot of players that I think put too much of an emphasis on being able to go mode a particular dungeon, and they spend a lot of time just not getting the crystals. And it ends up costing in the race. So focusing on crystals you can clear, I think, is always a good choice.
Last night? Is that what happened?
No, I didn't. Did you do
That's
that?
exactly what happened. I was like, dude, I could totally go mode Swamp. There's no way it's in Swamp. It was in Swamp.
Yeah, no, I totally didn't mean that directed towards you. It's just a common thing that a lot of people try to do. And it's something that it makes a lot of sense, like, you know, when you're doing the big like 40 or 100 person races or whatever, because then you're talking about item density, but that doesn't apply in a heads up race.
So it looks like Yoshi found all 3 items without having to go to Armos. So definitely a little bit of a time save, not having to kill the boss. But this does kind of rule out him ever doing Pedestal. But with no Fire Rod, that's not a huge concern right now.
Yeah, I mean, it could be required for the Ice Rod, potentially. Or even the boots, but hopefully not.
And once again, our runners are just backtracking over each other's routes. Chris is going to find his bow eventually, and Yoshi going to find his book. And then where do we go from here? I have no idea. Where do they go?
Well, you know,
Pyramid Fairy, it's a catfish, I guess. Isn't that...
Before we saw Eastern, I was saying Eastern was a great idea, but now that we know what's in there, I'm saying Christos should avoid Pod and Eastern like the plague. Stay away from there. I think Thieves Town is like, based on what we know and based on where both of the players will be at.
Do we know how many items were in the front of Thieves?
Yeah, that's right. Christos did check it. I mean, less than
there's
4?
There's at least 2. There's at least 2 from the back, including the green pendant, right? So, like, even if you found 3 items in the front, there's still 2 items in Thieves Town.
Yeah, we're definitely getting to the point where there's no obviously great place to go.
Chat says 2 in the front, so that would be 2 more in the back plus green pendant for a total of 3 items locked behind Thieves Town. That we haven't seen. Yoshi hasn't seen any of them.
Yeah, Yoshi hasn't dipped into Skullwoods either, so you know he has that both of those dungeons that he can kind of take a look at. And if he picks up the book, you know, maybe we'll do a pedestal check while we're in the area to at least see if that's going to be needed. It would be unfortunate if we had to go back to Eastern after having already dipped it. Did a lot of use of powder this race because we're still in the green mail, so we're taking quite a bit of damage. These Dark World dungeons are essentially infinite health with the powder, so it is my favorite item, favorite utility item.
Both of our runners did see the blue mail. They just both said that's not worth my time. It would have been several screen transitions and then a bomb jump to grab the blue mail, so I don't blame them at all. most seeds you just expect to find a few swords, you know, like they're usually just on the way.
And to be fair to the runners, I mean, you know, they correctly, they were correct that they didn't need the blue mail because they've been doing pretty much just fine. That with the exception being the Kholdstare fight, but that's very reasonable to have trouble with that.
Yeah, in hindsight, Yoshi probably would have saved time grabbing the blue mail because it would have been a lot less menuing and to get to those potions, and then having to rebuy the potions because now he needs them for the Vitreous fight as well. But you know, he didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, who expects to only have Fighter Sword an hour in?
Christos getting the bad news that yes, the item is on Kholdstare.
Well, it's not like he wasn't going to kill Kholdstare anyway.
Yeah, but it's annoying because, like, what if the item's like the Tempered Sword or something?
That's a good point. Christos doesn't know how lucky he is, though, having Master Sword.
Yeah, he's gonna have a much easier time with Kholdstare here. Like, he can still do hammer strats, but spins are way safer, and his Master Sword spins will do the same damage as a hammer. I think optimally, like, hammer strats will probably be faster than Master Sword spins. But, you know, nobody's optimal when it comes to the hammer.
No,
he's going for it, though.
He's doing a combination. I mean, using the sword spin to try to get them in the corner, and then a couple hammer shots. But he also had some issues getting them positioned correctly.
One hit from death. Switch into the cape and spins. Wow, that was close. So when you switch to the cape, there's like this delay, right, before you can actually use it. And he was spamming Y, waiting for that to activate, and he just barely avoided getting hit.
Yeah, that half magic is really coming in handy. That was a much, much easier Kholdstare fight. And he gets his bow.
So from Christos' point of view, going to Eastern makes a lot more sense than it did for Yoshi. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go do that. Like, he's already been into the front of Skull Woods. He's already seen front of Thieves Town. He has to go to Pod anyway to get the crystals, so might as well do Eastern. Unfortunately, we know it leads to nothing.
Yeah, and it's like both of the players have the book now, so you know, we talked about the follow the logic approach, and it's, you know, the book could potentially be leading to what we need. The Yoshi actually, and this is an unlikely play. I'm just listing it because, you know, we're seeing the same things. But Yoshi did leave those 2 items in Swamp Palace, so for him to do Bombos, pick up the 2 items in Swamp, and then head up to Pyramid would actually be not awful, like it would be for Christos.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're gonna skip something that early, it's generally a very bad idea to say, you know what, I'm just never going to do this no matter what. So it would make a lot of sense for him to go back into Swamp.
I'm just picturing Yoshi, like, now that you said that, just like standing outside of Swamp, having the last location, those 2 items, and just like refusing to, like, no, I'm never going to do it. I said I wouldn't do it. I'm just going to stand here and wait till the end of time.
Yoshi doing some Fighter Sword and bomb throwing shreds here. His best bet, honestly, is just use the cape. Just cape and do lots and lots and lots of Fighter Sword spins until you run out of magic, drink a potion, and start it all over again.
This is a good way to increase your lag time at the end of the race.
Those little hearts do 4 hearts of damage. He has to drink the potion to avoid being in 1-hit KO territory.
Yeah, so I think optimally you would spend... I mean, he's trying to save arrows for the big eye, but I think you optimally would just use the arrows on the small eyes and take out the big eye with the hammer and be a little bit faster, because those bombs and Fighter Sword spins was quite a time sink. So answering
we do know
chat.
that Desert's boost
Yeah,
locked.
I was just saying, definitely boost locked.
Yeah, I forget who it was that actually saw that. Maybe it was Christos.
Yeah,
one of them went into desert and knows it's boost locked.
I was taking advantage of this 20 minutes of no progression to take a look at what chat was asking.
Oh, they both did it. Okay. Yoshi getting rupees because he's doing Pyramid Fairy next. Okay. Wow, the rupee count though.
Yeah, we saw the same thing in their game 1 match yesterday. They weren't able to do the Zora check. Like even an hour in, Yoshi had the hula hand, and I think Christos was like a few rupees short. All the 300s were just hiding both of these seeds.
It feels a little bad to have to go farm rupees, but Yoshi had to buy. I think he bought like 4 potions or 3 potions to seed.
That's a good point. He has not been very thrifty.
But we finally get to see what's on the pyramid, and if he doesn't find anything here, I imagine he's going to go on to Catfish right after. And Christos is going into Eastern, following his Helmosaur kill. Where is all this progression, Tiru?
I don't know. I was actually just wondering if it would make sense to kill Armos. You know, if you're this far into Eastern. But no, I'd say I don't know. I'm undecided. Nah, it's probably worth.
I think just because you don't have the Fire Rod, like you don't bother killing Armos. Like I try not to even imagine Pedestal as an item location until I can actually pull it. I have the items for 3 pendants.
Yeah. You know, I didn't really think that through. If they had both of the other pendants already, then it would be different. But with this being the first, and then them having the book, and yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They can't even.
There's nothing.
They can't even clear Skull Woods.
Right, nothing on the pyramid, nothing in Pyramid Fairy, and Yoshi's not going to Catfish. He's gonna mirror here. Oh, he's going in front of Escape. Okay. Yeah, he hasn't done this yet. Christos did this really early with bombs.
All right, I'm calling progression on the green pendant at this point.
Yeah, we don't have a lot left. Green Pendant, Back of Thieves has some items. Catfish has an item. Did we see Graveyard Ledge?
I think we saw Graveyard Ledge.
I know Christos went into Skull Woods, and that's typically when you do Graveyard Ledge.
Christos might justify another Death Mountain trip because he hasn't looked into Turtle Rock, so he doesn't know whether he can, how far he can get.
Yeah, and we also have the 2 tablets and Spike Cave.
Exactly. So like, there's a little bit more justification to go up to the mountain for Christos than Yoshi, having already dipped TR, and Yoshi having not dipped Thieves Town at all. I think that's his obvious destination. But the front of Escape here is a quick check, especially being at the pyramid.
Alright, Christos finds all 3 items in Eastern, does not kill Armos, and is headed back to what looks like Thieves Town.
There's nothing more that he can do in the in Skull Woods. And I think Yoshi saw Graveyard Ledge, but Christos didn't. I might have that backwards.
Okay, alright, so I think what happened was Christos did Front of Skull Woods and then didn't continue, so he did not see Bumper Cave or Graveyard Ledge. And Yoshi hasn't been up here at all, ever.
Okay, so neither of them have seen it. All the races do tend to blur together after a while. Green Rupee's there on the Bumper Ledge, so the keep was not a progression item. Although it definitely actually helped them with quite a few boss fights. It's rare that the cape makes such a big difference, but in the seed, they both took advantage of it to avoid deaths.
Chris is going to walk over here to Graveyard Ledge. This is a very undesirable location. Don't blame anybody for putting it off for this long.
Yeah, Yoshi's heading over to Catfish. If Christos wants to do Catfish, it would be optimal to do it after this Graveyard Ledge check. So we might see him head over there as well.
Just more rupees. Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of rupees, though. That's worth picking up. 300?
Well, he has 600 already. Yoshi will probably pick it up.
Mirror bonk.
Catfish!
Oh!
A fire rod! Hey, now we can do more things in TR and Skullwoods. Guess what else is in Logic Chat?
So fortunately, Christos is heading over here as well, and we'll get the fire rod. I think that this makes the mountain play a lot more appealing for Christos, having not gone into Turtle Rock yet. I was going to say I don't know if it's enough to bring Yoshi back here, but apparently it is.
It's kind of amusing that Christos hasn't done Dark Death Mountain yet, with how the last race between these guys turned out.
I thought Christos did do Dark Death Mountain.
No, he did. Wait, did he?
He was.
Oh, you're right. He did. He did Dark Death Mountain, but he didn't go into TR. That's what it was.
Yeah, he had to make a second trip up there because I don't think he had the gloves the first time or the mitts, but he did come up a second time.
All right, both of our runners getting Fire Rod pretty near each other, and both headed up to Turtle Rock.
Does this feel like a big gamble for Yoshi? I mean, having already gone in here.
No, I don't think so. I think this is definitely the right play for him. Like, Skullwoods at its best is 2 items. He has a lot more here with getting to Laser Bridge. And Ice Rod in Turtle Rock is not an uncommon thing to see.
But Yoshi's already cleared out some of this dungeon, though, and he still has...
Yeah, but it was small key compass. He has none of the items.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'm really pulling him towards Thieves Town because he hasn't been in there at all. It would be really unfortunate if this turns out to be a triple dip Turtle Rock for Yoshi. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Never mind.
Oh, look, the Ice Rod. This game, though.
I know.
Don't worry, chat. Ped's not dead. We still have the boots. They're probably a Laser Bridge, so don't get your hopes up.
Well, still not the play that I would have made, but I'm horrible at this game, and Yoshi obviously isn't, so paid off for him.
So even if we do find the boots here, swords are going to be an issue for Yoshi.
Swords are an issue. Coming out of Turtle Rock is a nice opportunity that we can do Ether and Spike Cave pretty efficiently. So no. I think we'll knock.
There's no way he does that. If he finds boots in here, no.
No, I said if we find nothing.
Oh yeah, if we find nothing, sure, yeah, go over to Ether and Spike Cave.
Yeah, if you find boots.
If you find boots in here and he's in like a Master Sword Go mode, you can't do that. You go to Desert, you kill the boss, and then you just hope for a sword in GT.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, boots. You just consider yourself in Go mode. I was saying I'm assuming that we got the Fire Rod already, and we're not going to get anything else. Or we got the Ice Rod rather. We're not going to get anything else that's good. But having said that, that means we're probably going to immediately find the boots.
I think boots in TR is pretty likely right now.
We're at a pretty good time on the clock where, like, if we find boots here, and that gives us go mode, it's a pretty average seed.
Yeah, not too much double dipping. Double dips are usually what makes seeds take extra long.
And we had the mandatory pod double dip, and then this TR double dip was not mandatory. It was just, and only Yoshi had to do it. So this has actually been a fairly average seed. Nice early progression, a little bit of hunting around, but really nothing terrible.
Yeah, let's just go to Catfish, right?
This tournament, I would say go to Catfish is kind of a mandatory check.
All right, and now I don't mean to say this in an arrogant way, or to imply that I'm better than these runners, because I'm absolutely not even close to their level. But I would have done Catfish like an hour ago. If you recall, I wanted them to do Pyramid to Catfish and Mirror into Flipper checks, and they both opted to do Flipper checks alone and put off doing Pyramid Catfish.
No, I remember you saying that, and I understand obviously why you don't want to imply you're better than the finalists, but feel free to just say you're better. Just say you're better than me. I didn't even make it out of the group stage. I didn't even make it out of qualifiers, so you can say you're better than me. That'll give you some consolation prize. And you called where the boots would be, so that's another win for you.
Oh, did you pick up boots?
Yeah, Yoshi just found them.
Okay, I didn't see them. And the swords. But no sword.
Yeah, that's I mean, at this point, he's not going to check C-shaped house ever. So he's not going to get the same sword. We're dependent on him getting a different sword, and this being either Master Sword versus Christos Tempered. Oh crap!
Okay, he took the safety door. He's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
Man, I've never seen a seed where Blue Male would have earned his keep so well.
So this is a really uncomfortable situation for Yoshi. So the standard play here is for him to finish off Turtle Rock, finish off Desert, and then just look for a sword in GT. But the problem is, if there is a sword in GT, Christos probably also finds it. And then while Yoshi's not completely screwed and he'll be able to kill Ganon, now Christos has a sword advantage.
Yeah, Yoshi has a little bit of a time advantage, but not that much. And I think Christos already having the required sword and then potentially getting tempered is definitely an item advantage at this point. Definitely makes up for the minor time loss. We've only seen two swords, and there's two more. Yeah, Yoshi's
potion, he's fine. Okay.
Yoshi's keeping that witch in business today.
Yeah, I don't think he had another fire rod shot left. He had to drink the potion just for the magic.
Commentators yesterday were for this match were talking about how runners don't even think about the items that they have when they're going into a boss like Trinexx. They just you have to do Hammer Trinexx, so you do Hammer Trinexx. You don't even give it a second thought. But in this particular seed, Yoshi's been very proactive getting these potions, and we definitely needed them.
Yeah, at this level of play, I don't think Hammer Trinexx really isn't something that typically precipitates buying a potion. But the Kholdstare fight he had to do and the Vitreous fight he had to do, definitely something that even at this level, you want to be bringing potions.
Oh, and he's back at the potion shop again.
Stocking up for his Ganon fight since he's on even with the silvers, he has to go through if he's lucky, Master Sword. Master Sword Ganon.
It's such a contrast. I mean, Yoshi running out of magic and having to use a potion. Christos with the half magic, not even bothering with the sword, just burning the head down with the fire rod. Half magic is really paying off as well. All these convenience items like the cape, the half magic, the seed, normally they almost never get used, and this seed they're really actually making a difference.
Yeah, lack of swords will do that.
And so Yoshi is first to desert. Christos picks up his 6th crystal. But Christos is in real go mode, having the Master Sword, and Yoshi is still in hopefully go mode.
It is pretty likely that there's going to be a sword in GT. There's still 2 swords left in the seed that we haven't seen, and there isn't much of the game we haven't seen.
Yeah, the thing though is, even though it's likely there's a sword in GT, if the GT key is early, Yoshi's going to have to spend time checking all those chests. Christos will probably just if the key's in the first chest, Christos will just head upstairs and be done with it.
Now, Yoshi could opt to do the same thing and just hope there's a sword upstairs. Definitely seen that pay off before. Not a gamble that I could make, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a gamble. Not just knowing that you can complete it with what you have is emotionally a game changer. It puts you in the state of mind that you just go proceed with confidence. There's a lot of anxiety on Yoshi's side, probably heading to GT.
You can see our runners are fairly close to each other, about half a dungeon between them.
The obvious advantage that Yoshi has is he's already won game 1, so if this doesn't go his way, we get a game 3. That's a lot of extra stress that Christos is facing, being in an elimination match. So it's always nice to have that game cushion.
Just to keep new players or new viewers in the chat apprised, what happened with the sword situation is both runners put off Village of Outcasts at Thieves Town for forever, and then Christos gave in and went there and found a sword in C-shaped house, where Yoshi has never gone to check any of the Village of Outcasts checks, has never walked into Thieves Town.
Yeah, that's not to say that he hasn't been in the area, because he did do this he did Smith Chain.
It was a very unusual play, not one that I could say I've ever seen before. He took the Smith and went to do hammer pegs, and then when he picked up the purple chest, he left and never opened anything in Village of Outcasts itself, despite being on the screen. Oh, I guess we should do the thing.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out who started it, because...
with the scenario tracker.
Okay.
Yeah, for those who are slower on the uptake, we are headed towards Ganon Towers. In Ganon Tower, there are 22 locations, one of which will contain the big key that Yoshi needs to finish this game. And if you would like to guess 1 through 22 on which location that big key will be in, and we'll follow Yoshi as he goes through. And even if Christos finds the big key first, we will be going off of Yoshi's count.
Yeah,
assuming he doesn't die to Lionel's or something.
Yeah, I think all the numbers have been picked long before you announce that. So at this point,
you still get points, like if you have the right guess, even if you didn't guess it first. You just get more points if you guessed it first.
So what? I mean, obviously, they don't know this, but what Christos wants to see is an early key, and Yoshi actually wants to see a very late key to have the opportunity to search for all those chests to find a sword. So I'm gonna cut the difference. I'll say like 11. Let's find a key in the middle. Give them both a chance to get what they want.
I want to see it in the first chest, and then have Yoshi just immediately go up.
Oh man, that would be such a gutsy play.
right, no small key in Hope Room, so Yoshi's going to continue with a full left play.
Number 3 is a key on the torch.
To answer chat, there was no change for game 2. Christos opted not to change any settings. This is just a standard, well, an open. it's standard settings, but it's an open 7/7. We should really change the name of that.
Yes, yeah. So seven chests on. I really hope for the next tournament they make it so like I like giving the losing player the opportunity to make a change, but it'd be nice if one other thing was like just randomly changed as well, just for a little bit more variety.
See, I'm on the other side of the fence. I want less variety. I want every seed to be the same settings.
I felt that way when like inverted and Randomizer was an option, but if it's just fast Ganon and map compass shuffle, it's pretty simple. These changes aren't that bad.
Yoshi coming up on chest number 9, I believe.
Yep. Still in the fighter sword. Now I don't know the exact numbers, but I believe like around 2/3 of the items in Ganon's tower are just trash items that are generated during the seeding. So the chances of there being a sword isn't super high. Was it number 11?
Yeah, we found the big key before a sword. Yoshi's going to continue on to Isarmos looking for a sword. Christos, meanwhile, when he finds this big key, he's done.
Yeah, I mean, Yoshi really just has... This is the best play for Yoshi, just to keep going. You're not going to find any other location that has this much item density, and we absolutely need that sword. You're not going to want to backtrack to Ganon's tower. Oh, what a smart play.
Okay, all right. That's good. So Yoshi does have a lead then. He will be headed up the gauntlet before Christos. He lost a little bit having to go all the way to that big chest, but he still has a lead.
Yeah, and Christos is going to mirror as soon as we get the big key. So he's not going to be getting that. That will not be a temper for him. That is a really a heads-up play, checking the big chest there. It gets checked so infrequently, but we had the big key, and that had our sword. That's also a rare place for the sword to be, honestly.
Just 2 rooms between them.
So what's interesting is this is definitely a lead that Christos can make up. You're at the point now where you have all the items that you need to complete the game. You're in the tower, and you can just turn your brain off and fall back on muscle memory. And there's times where the hundreds and hundreds of NMG runs really make a difference on execution.
Yeah, I mean they're so close right now. They're going to be in the same room for about half a second there. That's how close they are. Like even something as mundane as an extra cycle on Lambo 2 will mean a lead change. A fall to Muldoran would be disastrous.
Absolutely. This is exciting. I don't know if it's this version or just the way things have worked out, but close races have been few and far between. So this is, I mean, they're in the same freaking room.
Yeah, and even after they get through this gauntlet, like they still have to fight Ganon, and Master Sword Ganon, there's a lot of variance there in the patterns you can get and how quickly you can get through those phases with the Master Sword. There is no 1-in-1. Unless you're doing, I think you can do 1-on-1 with like the Samaria strats, but I don't know how many people actually practice that.
Yeah, I've only seen people do them maybe like once or twice, but they're really cool to watch when you actually see someone pull it off. Same room now. Christos following Yoshi.
Bumping into the guards, man. That's a time loss.
Yeah.
Oh, look how close we are.
It does feel like Christos is picking up like 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, like every screen.
Christos takes the lead.
There we go. There's a changeover. Yeah, I mean, execution doesn't matter when you're, when you make a wrong play and you triple dip a dungeon, but when you're neck and neck like this, it's all that matters.
I don't know what Yoshi's experience is with just like typical speedrunning of the game, like NMG runs and stuff, but I know that Christos is a very prolific speedrunner. I think he has a 1:26 or something, which is a fantastic time in NMG. Like, he's probably done the gauntlet like at least 2,000 times. And he takes a
Oh!
Yoshi has the lead!
Oh, wow, this is going back and forth.
It's because I was saying nice things about him. I caused this.
Yeah. Don't say nice things about either runner. Even they're both exploding at the same time. And Yoshi wastes time. They both waste time opening a chest.
Well, it might have been a sword.
Yeah, I know, but we know they're as close as they are. They can make a difference.
Nah, you can't skip a chest that you're literally touching when you're on Master's Sword.
That's a fair call.
All right, Aga 2, another fight with lots of variants. It's very easy to get like an extra cycle or two.
I think it was a double for Yoshi.
They will have the same patterns. Christos gets the triple on that first pattern. Just a single for Yoshi on the second.
Yeah, and a single for Christos on the second as well. Another single for Yoshi. Right. One more. Oh, double for Yoshi, and Christos just needs a single here. They should have
the same patterns. Yep. Christos actually misses the double on the last one, but Yoshi missed the triple on the first one, so it evens out.
Yeah, Yoshi's like 3 seconds ahead.
Christos' heart count might also be a factor. If not necessarily that he's going to die, but he might have to menu to a bottle. And that menu can make the difference right now. They are that close. Yeah,
Yoshi picked up some potions too. I don't know what Christos is put. Oh, well, no!
Christos, what are you doing?
Unless this is a sword. Oh, it's not a sword. Oh, no!
Oh, my God.
Oh, Yoshi gaining some time there.
Yeah, that was a pretty big time gain. Yoshi's already halfway through this phase.
Nice positioning. Get double spins off the wall there. It's worth taking a hit from the trident to accomplish. That might be phase 2 for Yoshi.
Yep. 10 more hits.
I think Christos also is going to have the same cycle. Christos actually beat him.
A cycle sooner. Yeah, I know, because he has the half magic, so it's a little more feasible to use cape strats here, which means we'll also have a faster phase 2. Yeah, Yoshi getting the 3rd cycle here in phase 2. Christos should be able to finish it out.
Yeah, Christos took a lot of damage though. I mean,
Yoshi getting a 4th cycle. Christos got 3.
Does Christos have enough magic? Does he have another pot? Or is this it?
It should be fine. They have silvers.
Alright, so both into phase 3. Yoshi's like 1 teleport ahead. Christos just dodges those fireballs. All right, phase 4. And silver, we're going to use not even going to bother with the torch glitch, so we can line up some nice silver shots.
It's going for the triple here.
Yeah,
There's 1, 2, 3. He's got it.
Oh,
Christos right behind.
this. Oh my God, this could be. I think this is probably a tie.
We can't make that call. They will have an administrator go through and retime it and make sure if it is that close. But Yoshi finishes first with a time. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Okay, so on the restream we see Yoshi finish first, but on in the SRL chat or in the IRC chat, they finish at the same time, 1:39:26.
Actually says they both finished in first place. This is amazing.
Okay, we as commentators cannot make the call that it's going to be an official tie. We'll have to wait for an administrator of the tournament to say that it will be a tie. But from our perspective, yeah, that looks like a tie.
We can definitely say it feels like an exciting tie, subjectively. Damn, that was a heck of an ending. And yeah, just to answer chat's question, there have been many ties. I don't know if there's been a 0-second difference before that. That would be neat.
One of my races was a tie, actually.
Was it 0 seconds? Was it an exact tie?
No, I don't think so. It was close. All right, we have got confirmation from the administrators. This is, in fact, a tie. We are going to game 3, but it's actually just game 2.
Game 2, yeah, game 2, part 2. Oh, wow.
Incredible. Wow. Can you imagine if Christos didn't check the pyramid? Oh yeah. Man. Well, I mean, like we can't blame it on that one call. Obviously, this was an hour and 40 minute seed. Any single decision would have been a difference maker.
Oh my gosh.
One way or the other from either runner.
Yeah, you can play that game all day. You like, what if Yoshi had checked C-shaped house or whatever? Then there's 100 different 1 second differences you can do. But God, that was just amazing, and that just shows how much the execution difference can make too. Because I mean, Christos came in behind, caught up quite a bit of time in the tower, even went to check the pyramid, and still managed to finish with a 0-second difference.
Yeah, he was a good 2 rooms behind going through the gauntlet, and then just by the end of it, they were like step.
So do we really have neither of them joining us for an interview, or are they both still 20 minutes later trying to calm down from that?
Yeah, I don't know. Looks like Christos did tell us that he will not be doing an interview. He is in the chat, though, if you guys want to congratulate him on his tie. And I have to assume that Yoshi also will not be joining us for an interview because he would have joined by now.
All right, well, then I guess we can go ahead and wrap up.
Sit here and chat for a bit, I'd like to see their collection rates, honestly. I want to see how close.
All right, yeah, okay, we can wait a few minutes. Christos is in chat. Christos is very happy with the tie, better than a loss. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Yeah, lots of really I don't want to say like abnormal, but non-standard routing through this SATA, I would say. Like both runners putting off like just the front of Thieves and Village of Outcasts for so long. Yoshi never going there at all. Definitely not something you typically see. Like even like a normal race, like you typically see somebody just go there and check those real quick as they're going through. But the items just kept lining up. More crystal dungeons to go to.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few locations that I mean, we didn't get to see the boots locked locations, obviously, because that was our gun mode item, uh, and we never actually killed any of those pendant bosses. But the fact that Yoshi didn't check the C-shaped house, was obviously the sword, and any of Thieves Town was particularly surprising.
Yeah, even beside that, like even from the start of the seed, we had some very non-standard routing, like ChristosOwen getting those bombs from the tree pole and immediately going front of escape with just bombs. Like that is pretty uncommon. You typically do not see people do that. Like maybe if you find like the hammer or a sword or something, but with just bombs, it's weird. Unfortunately, he didn't. I'm sure he did it because he knows that most people don't like to in front of escape. Period, and being able to do it on your first trip to the uncle is really nice. Unfortunately, not leading to progression for him.
Yeah, I do like Christos claiming the moral victory of having typed done first in chat.
That is true. In the IRC chat, Chris's name is listed first, even though it does say they both have first place. Are we sure it's not just alphabetical?
It might be. You have so this is gonna be an interesting thing where speedrunners have to start measuring their typing speed, how fast they can type dones. It's not something I would want to have to train for.
I had a lot of fun this race. This was a fantastic showcase of both routing and execution. Plus, it's always fun, like at this level, when the runners have to do like the lower percent fights. It can be a little boring when you find like tempered and blue mail really early, and there's no danger at all the entire seed. We got to hear a lot of double beep speed from Christos. Thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have to get Yoshi to go to no heart beeps to even that out next race. Yeah, I was happy with this seed. Like I said, there's so many races that I've commentated and watched in this tournament that have had 10, 15-minute differences between first and second. It's rare that you even have 1 minute differences lately. So to see something I've never actually commentated a tie before. I've seen some, but I haven't commentated one. So to see a 0-second tie, that is a special treat.
And while we're waiting for these collection rates, there is more Link to the Past Randomizer tournament today, you guys. At 6:50 Eastern, we have Willard J. Bradley versus P-Train, two pretty big names in the community facing off. And then later tonight at 8:20, it's Trinexx versus Jet. Those are on Speed Gaming 5 and 3, respectively.
Yeah, both players about the same, almost 9 minutes of lag time, with all of the invincibility items and things that we used this particular seed. There was quite a bit of lag.
ChristosOwen with a 162 collection rate, Yoshi with a 151. I guess Christos wins the moral victory then. Checked more locations in the same amount of time.
Yeah, actually,
that's what counts, right?
You checked fewer in GT, which is normally what bumps the collection rate up at the end. So he must have had a lot of other checks in other places. Interesting.
All right, we made it to the collection. I think we're ready to wrap it up now.
All right. Well, let's not play chicken. I started, so you can do the wrap up.
All right, fine. So, chat, I want to personally thank you, chat, for being here with us. You make it all possible. But we're going to talk about other people now. Thank you so much to Tiru for co-comming with me. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun, and much thanks to iiYoshii for the tracking and for running the big key guessing game, which we totally forgot about. There's much love there. Guys, make sure to stay tuned to the Speed Gaming channels for more Link to the Past action, as well as other games. I don't know if you know this, but there are other games that are speedrun, and some of them are even fun. I swear, it's true. But for now, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys so much again for watching once more, and we'll catch you next time.